Hey, Peter Tomlinson here. How's everybody doing? In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at How High the Moon and creating an arrangement using 3-note voicings in the left hand and melody in the right hand. You should be looking at your handout that's called 7th Chords in C for this exercise. Lines 3 and 4 have the 2-5-1 3-note 2-5-1 progressions illustrated to you there. So we're going to be using that concept for the left hand and playing the melody with the right hand. For the melody, we're going to take some liberties after we can play it correctly as written. We're going to take some liberties with the melody to try and make it sound a little bit more swinging. We'll get back to that in a second. For now, I want to go through the whole chart and decide which voicings I want to use for what progressions. So I'm going to be using the A voicings and the B voicings to keep my chords in a good register on the keyboard. Not too low and not too high, okay? But somewhere just right. Okay, so we're in the key of G. It starts on the G major 7th chord, obviously the 1 chord. And the best voicing for that is going to be the B voicing. The A voicing would either be a little bit too low, or doesn't sound bad there, but maybe a little too high. It's gonna clunk into my left hand where I want to play the melody. So the B voicing, 7, 1, 3. And as you go along, be writing these intervals in from the lowest interval to the highest interval, okay? And as you are applying those intervals, make sure that you are applying a major 7th for a major 7th type chord and a major 3rd for a major 7th type chord. You probably remember me suggesting that if you have a chord that doesn't have the root on the bottom for these 3-note voicings, might be easy for you to strike the root with your 2 finger, your pointer finger, okay? And then fill in above the major 3rd and below the major 7th. It might be an easy kind of system to find that chord because it can be a little confusing if you're not playing the root on the bottom. Okay, so we're going on to measure 3 and 4. I recognize a 2-5-1, or measures 3, 4, and 5. I recognize a 2-5-1 to the key of F major. Now, F major is really kind of a borderline key. It could sound great as the A voicings. That would mean that the 2 chord and the 1 chord would both have the root on the bottom. It would be the 5 chord that has the 7th on the bottom. Hopefully all this is very familiar to you, okay? Or it could also sound good as a B voicing where the 2 chord and the 1 chord have the 7th on the bottom. So again, put your 2 finger on the root, fill in with the minor 3rd and the minor 7th. By now all these chords should be really familiar to you, especially after having done It's You or No One. We played this chord a zillion times in that tune, all right? So we're moving on. What's really nice about this tune and most tunes that you're going to be playing is there's going to be a lot of repeating sections. So the first 10 bars of How High the Moon will repeat at the double bar. So if you look down to the 5th line where G major 7 is again, that's the second half of the tune. The chords are going to be exactly the same as they were in the first 10 bars, all right? So you can just, once you work those out, you can just go and copy them over again on the bottom of the chart, and then everything else is pretty redundant also. So once you get the first half of the tune worked out, you've pretty much done all your work on it. Okay, so I'm going to let you work on those, and then I'm going to start thinking about the melody. First, I want to practice it as written. 2, 3, 4, 1. 4, 1. Okay, nice and simple. But after I get pretty comfortable with that, I want to start thinking about making the rhythms swing a little bit more. And all these quarter notes and half notes and whole notes don't really swing. We need to create some more eighth notes so we can get that jazz eighth note kind of sound going. And I can do that simply by pushing and pulling some of these rhythms either forward by an eighth note or back by an eighth note. So, for example, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, maybe I'll push that first D back to the and of 1 instead of 2. And then the B, maybe I'll do that on the and of 2. All right? 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, it's subtle, but it swings a lot more now. Okay, another thing that I can do that most jazz players would probably do as a matter of, you know, habit is I'm not always going to hold all these notes out for the full length that's written on the lead sheet. I'm going to make them shorter. Okay, most jazz vocalists will do that pretty often. It's not a rule, but in general, you don't need to worry about sustaining all those notes completely. Okay, so write in your chord voicings, work out your melodies, and once you are confident with playing it as written, go ahead and have some fun with the rhythms a little bit. All right, I'm going to play it through one time. Let's see if I got to start my metronome again. Jazz musicians are very much in the habit of practicing with the metronome on counts 2 and 4. It can be a little bit, if you're not accustomed to that, it can be a little bit tricky at first, but it makes it swing. It's a really nice sound. You can have your metronome set to the quarter note, but on 2 and 4 is a nice sound also. So I'm going to get it going here at a really easy tempo. 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, another thing that I didn't mention was I would sometimes sustain my chords, my left-hand chords. Sometimes I play them a little bit more rhythmically. In general, where the melody is really static, I might do something rhythmic with my left hand and gets a nice interplay between the two hands going and fills in the rhythm a little bit better than sustaining. So again, once you master your chords, then feel free to get some swing and comping going, okay? I think you can just use your intuition on that. And so have fun with that. Please, if you're seeing this, you're probably seeing the email that is accompanying it. And so want to hear from everybody commenting on each video, all right? So when you watch the video, make sure you say hello in the comment section. Okay, thanks a lot. Have a great one.